What we're going to do today, folks, is look at the dollar chart. And the reason why the dollar chart is so important today is because it looks like we may be getting a near-term top in the US dollar. Now, if you've been following the US dollar, you know it's been soaring all year long, recently spiking dramatically. The euro has been collapsing to almost par against the dollar. Now, the key here is what I'm seeing in the charts today. So let's dive right in, folks, and take a look at the charts. So this is the daily chart of the DXY. What you can clearly see right here is we had an initial spike up and we've reversed the gains and are basically flat on the dollar. Now, some of you might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, this is the big deal. Number one, we had the jobs data here on Friday morning. The jobs data was very, very good. That usually would cause a spike up in the dollar. The dollar did spike higher intraday off of that news and then reversed. In the history of all my trading, in the 20 years that I've traded, what I found out is that when good news comes out and something initially spikes and then reverses, it tells you big money is selling into it. So that's what we have here. We have big money likely dumping into that good news on the jobs report, and that is a bearish short-term signal. In addition, this may be creating a topping tail on the chart, all right? So a topping tail is a bearish technical signal that tells you a reversal is at hand. Now, as if that's not enough, flip over to your monthly chart on the dollar. This is the DXY. This is going all the way back to 1999 to 2000. And let's put some trend lines in here for us to try to figure out. So the first one I'm seeing is take a look at this line here, right? So you have a defined line right here. What we can do is we can connect this right through. All right, so again, look at how here's a line, you kissed it right here, you kissed it right here, you pierced it here, and then this is where the dollar topped out this morning. So that's number one. Then take a look at this little pivot going back to 2000 and also this little pivot high. And again, I know it's hard to see here, but there's a low and there's a high. That's telling me there's a support resistance line in there. When price is below, it is resistance. When price was above, it would be support. Now, if we put that line in and draw it right across, basically that's within the range of what we're currently seeing. So there was a ton of resistance on the dollar. You couple that with the reversal off of the jobs data today, the topping tail, and to me, this spells trouble for the US dollar, at least in the short term. Now, what does that mean? I mean, what does a weaker dollar mean? Let's say for the next month or two, if we see a pullback in the dollar. Well, actually what that means is that's very good for metals. So gold, silver, platinum, anything like that should get some sort of bid. I think silver, platinum, and oil will have trouble because potentially a recession would be bad for the industrial side of those metals. But for gold, that would be very, very positive to see a pullback in the dollar. I also think that you have to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has already started to uptick. It's held its 2017 highs. And ultimately, I think that makes sense that that could be a potential short-term move. Now, I want to be clear. I still think Bitcoin has another leg down, but I think you could get a move to 25,500, maybe as high as 28,000 before that next leg comes in. My downside target on Bitcoin remains 12 to 13,000 before any real chance of a longer term bottom being put in. All right, so again, the bottom line is today, for the first time, we're seeing a confluence of major resistance levels hit on the US dollar, the DXY, and we're seeing a potential topping tail, and we also saw a sell the news event on the dollar in relation to the jobs data. That right there has me accumulating gold, silver, as well as some Bitcoin down here. I think you look for a near-term pop. And I stress this, folks, we're not talking long-term trading here. This is a near-term move that likely will see a couple-week up move in those commodities in Bitcoin. And again, I think that could be a short-term bullish signal for that, even the stock market potentially.